Hello everyone and welcome to iReadit, bringing you your daily dose of the internet for Thursday, September 21st, 2017. I am Michael Schwan.
And I'm Nathan Wood.
Please remember, everyone, that you can help our show by going to patreon.com/dailyinternet. If you'd be willing to even offer us $1 a month, we would be most grateful, as it does help the entire show run. Otherwise, please be sure to catch us live on Facebook Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. Alaska time. Nathan, I think we already know, but how are you doing today?
I'm feeling awful.
Yeah? You stayed home from work today, right?
Yeah, and I just woke up.
That sounds awful.
I haven't eaten anything. I feel super weak. I feel very shaky.
Well, food would probably help with most of those things.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. Or, just not being dead.
Yeah, definitely that one. Actually, I don't know.
I mean, if you're dead, you can't feel sick, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
That's not the solution I meant.
Yeah, you're onto something.
Nathan's like, yes, solutions. The permanent solution. Anyway, so did you get to do anything today besides sleep?
No.
No? Okay. My day at work was draining. Is the best way that I can describe it. Like, just absolutely draining by about 3 o'clock. Like, normally there's like a wall at 3 o'clock where you're like, I don't want to be here anymore. Nope. Today at about 3 o'clock, I was like, I just need to take a nap. I'm so tired.
Congratulations to David Chadwick for making it on time.
Power to you, sir. Yeah, but before 3 o'clock, I had spent 2 hours trying to fix a certificate of service so that I could serve something to someone.
Yeah, those things are the fucking worst, but you need them on literally everything.
It sucked so much, because it was like, alright, this is a new document. Where's the template for the certificate of service? Oh, here it is. Why does it still have the governor from 5 years ago on it? Alright, well, I need to update that. This is formatted wrong. Oh, these are supposed to be in a different order. And it's like, alright, I think I got it down. And then you attach it, and then you're like, nope, these 3 things need changed. Undo it, rechange everything, do it again, rinse, repeat.
Why don't you just go to courts.alaska.gov, go to the forms page and print off one of them?
Because our certificate of services are not the same type that are used by the state of Alaska court system.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's real annoying. It's real dumb. But we got there. We got there, fam.
Congrats.
Yeah.
I'm happy for it. Hi, Mom. Mom's in chat, too.
Awesome.
I don't like typing because it makes me have to reach over my awkward setup because my table is incredibly small.
We just need to get you a new setup. Yep.
My room.
Chile to be first American country to ban plastic bags in coastal cities.
It was submitted by Chile Doesn't Exist. To Our World News.
Username checks out. Okay, so anyway, President of Chile, Michelle Bachelet, will make Chile the only country in America to ban the usage of plastic bags in coastal cities. This is expected to have no roadblocks, no problem whatsoever moving forward, as they've already had 60 cities along the coast ban the usage of plastic bags. This is just going to make it a worldwide, a countrywide thing for them. And basically it's that they recognize that plastics are one of the main things that are contaminating the ocean, and instead of trying to ban plastics, just ban the use of plastics close to the shore should hopefully minimize the amount that actually makes it into the ocean.
That's awesome. I like that. I like having, no pollution in certain areas. I mean, at least less pollution.
Yeah, as minimal as you can. And if it's a benefit no matter what. Although I do wonder what that means that they'll be replaced with. Will you be expected to bring your own bags, in which is everyone going to be rocking their canvas bags, or are they going to be switching over to paper?
I think the canvas bags idea isn't a bad idea.
Yeah, my problem with the canvas bags is we have some and we always forget them. Always.
Well, if it becomes illegal for you to forget them, you're not going to fucking forget them.
That's fair. Or we'll be buying canvas bags every time we go to the store.
Sure. It'll teach you the first couple times not fucking forget your goddamn canvas bag.
And then it'll be like, all right, we got 10 canvas bags in the house, 15 in each car.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and then you'll be like, then it'll be like plastic bags where you just take all of your canvas bags and shove them in one big one.
Underneath,
store it there just in case you ever need them, and you really don't.
Underneath the sink.
You know what my grandmother or my grandparents, actually, both of them, used to call plastic bags?
What?
Cheap plastic suitcases.
That's fair. That's very fair.
9.
AARP, older Americans to pay $16,000 more per year under GOP Obamacare repeal.
This is submitted by Serial 007 Our Politics.
That is actually an average number. So with the current plan that is being put forth by the GOP to repeal Obamacare and institute a new health care plan, it is foreseen that the majority of people over the age of 60 that make at least $25,000 a year would be paying an additional, on average, $16,174 per year. Now, in some states, this is quite different, and this is hilarious, by the way. So the two most the two key votes on this matter are the two that voted against it last time, and that was Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski and Arizona Senator John McCain.
Nice. Okay.
And here's the hilarious part, is that this is so poorly written that in Alaska, which, you know, it's fun to talk about your own state, in Alaska, a 60-year-old making $25,000 per year in Alaska would have to pay around $31,000 a year to health care.
Oh, God.
Do you see the problem there?
Oh, God, that's awful.
You can't pay $31,000 with $25,000. That's not enough. That math doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. So
I don't. How does anyone ever think this is a good idea?
Because it benefits them, and I don't mean them as in like the voters. I mean them as in like the senators.
Insane.
Yeah, it's stupid. We'll see what happens. I mean, this one's even worse than the first one they put forward, and the first one didn't make it through. So there's a decent chance this one won't as well, but it will hinge on a couple of Republicans saying no.
Oh my goodness, that's so interesting that people just thought that this was good enough to put forth.
It's literally just trying to replace the Democrat stuff, and the Democrats do it too. Anytime the Democrats have control over something, they're like, "What of the Republican stuff can we replace?"
Fuck, everyone needs to stop being so petty.
Yeah, well, you know.
8.
1,000-year-old tomb of Mayan King discovered in Guatemala.
This was submitted by Mouth Shitter to Our World News.
God damn it. People with the names today.
Good.
So this tomb was unearthed at the site of El Puruhuaca, which is in the rainforest north of Guatemala. Now, this was only recently discovered, not the tomb, the entire city of Huaca was discovered back in 2003. And it was built somewhere around like 200 AD, so it's super old, but the dense rainforest and stuff made it where we couldn't find it. And then people just, came across it when they were looking for petroleum, because of course that's what they were looking for. Anyway, so we found it, and then we've been excavating it for the last 14 years, and they found several burials of kings and queens, but in one of the latest findings, they tunneled beneath one of the city's palaces and found what is probably one of the oldest burial sites for the entire city. It looks like the burial dates back to around 300 to 350 AD, in which they found the tomb of an ancient emperor, or king or president or whatever they called them for the Mayans, that was wearing a jade mask, and both the jade mask and the dead man's bones had been painted red.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like,
But I like this because it just goes to show that there are places around the world that even with modern technology, it's incredibly hard to get to, and you're still going to be finding civilizations that have crumbled.
Atlantis.
That would be cool, just like the movie,
What is it? We only know about like 1% of the ocean or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. And everyone's, all about space travel. Let's explore some of the ocean too.
We don't even know what's hiding beneath our own waters.
Just want to explore. Actually, I think it would be super cool if we can put together an underwater city.
And then Cthulhu
And not
just
just
wrecks
like
it.
not just like Venice, you know?
Yeah, well, that wasn't meant to be underwater. But then Cthulhu would just,
No, dude, he's over in Relay sleeping, man. You just gotta make sure not to get to Relay and wake him up.
well, you never
They
know.
have like
7.
specific coordinates in the books.
Nice. Thousands rally in Philippines to warn of Duterte dictatorship.
This is kind of funny. This is submitted by Fitness and Finance to Our World News. I have a friend who thought it was a good idea to go over to the Philippines.
Like, to visit?
Yeah.
Just 'cause?
I think he's going over there to hang out with some girl that he met online, but just, I don't know. I find it funny that you decide to go over to the Philippines now, as opposed to, waiting a little bit.
Well, the interesting thing is that the view of the Philippines that we receive is apparently rather polarized. And what that is we hear the reports that, that the police are marching down the street and killing people in droves over this war on drugs. And there is some truth to that, there is a very, very aggressive slaughter of people that are involved with drugs that has resulted in the death of approximately 6,000 people. Now, there's millions of people in the Philippines. So thousands of people rallied today to denounce Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte because...
They're all dead.
Well, no, they're not dead. Of what they called an emerging dictatorship and a major show of dissent against the controversial but apparently hugely popular leader. And here's where this comes into play, is that he won the presidential election by a ridiculous margin. And even now, during the events that are happening recently, he still has an overwhelming amount of support from people living in the Philippines. But the information coming out of the Philippines that we hear about is only about his war on drugs. So while we have this polarized view of like, oh, that's really terrible, he's just slaughtering his own people, a huge number of the people living there are okay with it.
Which I think is even more fucked up.
Isn't that kind of scary?
Yeah.
But
that's like mob mentality, mob rule,
Well, to the point that while thousands of people rallied in opposition to him, thousands more rallied in support of him in a counter-protest.
So interesting.
It's weird. Like, I don't understand. Like, trust me, I'm not big on, drugs or anything like that, but I don't condone murdering those that are associated with it.
People in different areas of the world have different viewpoints, and I guess in a lot of places around the world, murder is very acceptable in a lot of forms, for a lot of punishment.
And the thing that people are referring to is referring back to one of the previous people that had control over the Philippines, and their first name has eluded me, and I'm only seeing their last name here. Where did it go? Their last name is Ferdinand Marcos. And Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law in 1972 and held complete power over the country of the Philippines for 14 years until his removal from office. And people often hearken back to what he did as like why you shouldn't be this horrible person, right? Because he held complete control over everything by using martial law. And people are worried that Duterte is going to take a similar stance, especially because Duterte has heralded and cheered on the leadership of Marcos. But at the same time, there's apparently a majority of the people living there that are in support of this.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like people are in support of things on the surface until things start getting really bad, and then they're not in support of things.
Well, and
I feel
here's
like this might be one of those things.
the other thing that I question, and I'm not saying they've all died off or anything like that, but Marcos was, in power through most of the 70s and the early 80s. How many of these people that are out there counter-protesting were around for what he did anymore?
God.
Because, they're at least my mom's age, and my mom's pushing, 60.
You're not supposed to say things like that, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I wonder how the age demographic of both of these protests. I wonder what it was like. I wonder what it looked like.
I don't know, because and that's one of the things that I look at and I question with a lot of the activity that happens even in our own country when people are talking about things that, like, especially when it comes to like Nazis or anything like that. It's like, I don't think you know just how, and we've talked about this before, about how gruesome that was. Like, you talk about it way too nonchalantly for what actually happened. And
at the same time, there's not a lot of people around anymore who've experienced actual Nazis.
oh, I know, and that's the part of the problem is
Or-
people are like, you know, cheering on Duterte and his support over a previous leader that they don't actually know what happened underneath that person besides the scraps of history that are passed along.
I mean, I feel like with the with the 70s, it's a lot earlier, or it's a lot closer to the 70s than it is the 40s.
That's fair. I still put it into question though.
Sure.
6,
FCC sued for ignoring FOIA request investigating fraudulent net neutrality comments.
This is submitted by Mavia to Our Technology.
So we've talked about how all the millions and millions of comments that have been poured into the FCC. We've plugged multiple times Stephen Colbert's website,
Go FCC yourself.
Yeah, where you could make your comments regarding net neutrality. And there was a extremely large number of comments that were flooding in support of Ajit Pai and what he's wanting to do in terms of dismantling net neutrality, and it was discovered that the majority of them are bots that are using copy-pasta language in order to fill in these forms, and are also implicating other people, literally stealing people's social security numbers and pretending to be them on these comments. And so people were like, hey, FCC, what are you going to do about this? And they said basically that they weren't going to do anything. So, but we can't tell who's behind these comments still. Like, there's a few places where there's the language lines up, but we can't actually prove anything yet. But the FCC would have the data to do so, but they're not releasing it. So a Freedom of Information Act request was put into the FCC for information about their logs, the data, and everything they have surrounding these fraudulent comments. And the FCC has basically said, fuck you, go away. And so they're like, cool, we'll just sue you for it.
Okay. I'm okay with this.
The problem is, real quick side note, Zach Klutz just joined the chat room. He was originally going to join us today, but he has had a hefty amount to drink because it is his birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. Klutz.
That's no excuse. I've had hefty amounts to drink a lot on this show.
Yeah, but you didn't need to drive somewhere to do so.
Drive you crazy, dickhead.
That's very true, actually. Extremely true. Here's the problem, though, with this lawsuit going on, is that the lawsuit will not go through very quickly, and they intend to make a decision regarding net neutrality in these next couple of months.
So they're gonna reach the decision before anything actually happens.
Yep.
God damn it.
Yep. Which is
Trump presidency all over again.
really suck.
Yeah.
Like, they want to delay this, pass their ruling, and then deal with it afterwards, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
It's some dirty scumbag tactics, man.
It's some bullshit.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be allowed to happen.
Like, part of me is like, the vote shouldn't be able to go forward until that this has been concluded, but then it'd be too easy to delay decisions in general, so.
Yeah, they would just, throw up the, hey, we need an investigation into this every time they disagree with something.
Yeah, so.
5,
For weeks, Equifax customer service has been directing victims to a fake phishing site. God damn it.
This is submitted by Mavia to Our Technology. Oh my god.
How do you fuck up this bad? Like,
I really don't know.
Like, how? I ask you.
I don't understand.
Anyway.
How.
So, Equifax are one of the credit companies that lost...
No, was one of the credit companies.
Well, they still are. And that had 143 million Americans' information hacked and stolen. And this is more than like your name. This is your social security number, your driver's license number, your name, your last known address, your phone number, basically anything and everything people could want to just steal your entire identity. 143 million Americans. And so that's a thing. And so in order to try to protect you, they set up a service called Equifax Security. Now, two problems with what this is: instead of going through their secure line, which wasn't that secure but was more secure than setting up an entire new network, they set up an entire new network called EquifaxSecurity2017.com. And what this service is a bunch of fucking bullshit in which you give them all of your information again, and they will protect you for 1 year, and then after that year, they will charge you for additional protection moving forward. So fuck you, Equifax. Now, the problem is that a whole bunch of people immediately criticized them, security experts criticized them over this new website, and two, how long it was. Because the website, Equifax Security 2017, is very long, which means that it is very easy to make very slight alterations to that to mislead people. So one good person tested this out, and they made SecurityEquifax2017.com. and set up this website to look exactly like Equifax Security 2017.com, with a few of their own little personal touches to show that it was a fake phishing website. And if you tried to enter your information after going through all of the normal forms that Equifax provided, before you could submit it, it would say, "You have been bamboozled. This is a fake website. Ha 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 ha," something along those lines.
Give me a bamboozle.
And then the official Equifax Twitter account started directing people to that website.
Oh my god.
In multiple tweets.
Why?
Like, holy fuck, Equifax. You did one of the biggest fuck-ups ever, and then you're like, "Oh, security, hurt-a-dur." Like, oh, you hurt me. You hurt me so bad.
This entire thing it's not comedic. No, it is comedic irony, isn't it?
Yes.
It's so fucking. It's 100% good.
It's unbelievable. I'm
crying on the inside. I can't cry on the outside anymore. Not unless I get hit in the balls. No, this is hilarious, but at the same time, this is really bad.
It's depressing. How are you this much of a failure when you are such a large company, have been for so long, and have so many people's trusted information? We talked previously about how their Argentina branch's entire server's login and password were both admin. That was the login to protect all of your info in Argentina, was admin for the username and admin for the password.
How long do you think it took to actually crack that? Some guy's like, "No, I can't be this." He's like, I've wasted so much time. I don't know what to do anymore. Just fuck it. Admin. What?
It's impressively baffling. Like, yeah, I'm just moving on. Good God.
Yeah.
4,
Disney had to pay Paramount 7 figures to allow JJ Abrams to direct Star Wars Episode 9.
This is submitted by Janky Eyes to our movies.
So, Paramount recently got a new chairman and CEO, Jim Giannopoulos, and that's because the previous chairman and CEO passed away. And Paramount's not doing so hot right now. Their last big movie was the last Star Trek movie, and they haven't had a lot of other hits since then. Or really any before then, since the Star Trek movie before it.
Whoa. Oh, okay. So since the Star Trek movie before. I was going to say, Paramount has done a lot of good films.
Right. But in the last 10 years, they've kind of had problems. They haven't had...
Like, what have they done? They've done Mission Impossible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember what else.
I mean, it's...
Cloverfield?
Yep, they did the Cloverfield movies.
That's about it.
Yep, and the Star Trek movies.
Mm-hmm.
And they were kind of banking on JJ Abrams to give them the big successful films that JJ Abrams is quickly becoming known for. They lost him once to do Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. He wasn't going to do Episode 8 or 9, and he had a contract, a $10 million a year contract, to work for Paramount and direct a movie for them, because their last released movie, Mother, did
Oh
terribly.
my
Like,
god.
it's one of the biggest box office bombs.
Which is funny because it's like number 3 right now in the box office.
Well, yeah, that's because there's no other movies that are worth watching.
There's only one other movie that is good.
But also, it made like $3 million this last weekend, which is a depressingly small amount.
Yeah, like this summer has been the shittiest summer on record for movies.
It's been pretty.
The only silver lining we've had was It.
Yeah, it's been.
And they didn't even include the silver dollar.
Yeah, been pretty bad. Anyway, so then Disney, after they lost the director for Jurassic World, Kevin Trevorrow, were like, man, I wish we could have JJ Abrams back. Hey, JJ, you want to come direct another Star Wars movie? And JJ was like, fuck yeah, I do, but I'm signed on with Paramount. Disney went, we don't care. Hey, Paramount, we're taking JJ. Paramount went, will you at least give us some money, please? And
They're
Disney,
like, come on, dude. This is like the only guy we have.
yeah. And Disney was like, fine, we're gonna make like $2 billion off of Star Wars, so we can give you like $5 million, I guess. All right, have a good day. Bye. Click.
That's some insane shit.
Yep. So that's how
It's like those phone companies where they're like, hey, we'll buy out your entire contract from your previous phone company if you come in.
And you're like, sick.
Yeah, you're like, oh, sick. I haven't paid this in like 4 months.
Thanks, Fred. Although normally they have a limit on how much they'll pay.
Yeah.
3,
SEC reveals it was hacked. Information may have been used for illegal stock trades.
It was submitted by Theobides to Arm News.
So, the SEC, or the Securities and Exchange Commission, is the country's top Wall Street regulator, and it announced on Wednesday that hackers had breached its system for storing documents filed filed by publicly traded companies last year. They got hacked last year.
Wait, what is SEC?
The Securities and Exchange Commission.
Okay.
And the reason that this is a big deal, now that this isn't on the same level in terms of like the Equifax breach of where a lot of personal information got leaked. Instead, what this is a lot of information about businesses and how their numbers are doing. And what that means is that normally the system is called Edgar, and it's a popular way for investors to access the detailed financial reports of companies that sell stock to the public. And so they can use these numbers to compare to older numbers and other companies to try to predict what stocks are going to go up or down to do their trades, to buy and sell stocks, right? Mm-hmm. It's part of how you do the entire stock market thing. Now, this had a software vulnerability, and it was exploited and released in access to non-public information. So there was information stored in there that was put there by these publicly traded companies that was not supposed to be revealed to the public yet, but it was a place for them to safely store that information. If someone got that information, it allows them an edge in terms of making these sales. So it could have resulted, and there's no way to prove if it did or didn't, in tons and tons and tons of illicit trading that gained a ton of money that they shouldn't have been able to get because they had knowledge that other people weren't able to have.
Damn, so it gave them an edge up. It was like taking a sports almanac back in time.
Well, and like we talked about Martha Stewart, right? The one that went to jail for...
I thought she went to jail for tax evasion.
Was that it? I thought it was Martha Stewart.
Wesley Snipes.
No, yeah, it was Martha Stewart, because somebody gave her a tip-off that the company that she had invested in was about to go under, which you're not supposed to know that information if you're an investor, because what happens when people know that is they
sell.
They sell all their shares, and that causes a very large problem. And that's what she did, and you had an unfair advantage in the stock market because of that, and that's why she went to jail for a while. And
she had more jail time than fucking Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, and in this case, somebody else got that advantage, but we don't know who, because all they did was went, oh, look, a vulnerability download.
Damn. So one dude is about to make it big in the stock market if he plays it correctly and doesn't fuck up.
Well, most likely already did, because this information was hacked a year ago.
Oh, damn. This dude's rich as fuck by now.
Probably. If he knows how to use the info, anyway.
I hope.
I know jack shit about the stock market, so...
Yeah, same here. The only stocks I know have been in video games.
Trump praises healthcare of Nambia. a non-existent African country.
This is submitted by Trump Care Kills Tom.
God damn it. The fucking names today, man.
I can't even.
So Donald Trump lavished praise on a healthcare system of Nambia during a speech at the United Nations.
Oh, in front of everyone.
Yeah, in front of the entire world.
No.
He mentioned Nambia twice. There's just a problem is that country doesn't exist.
Oh.
And the prediction based on the context is he was talking about in Guinea and Nigeria you fought a horrifying Ebola outbreak, and Nambia's health system is increasingly self-sufficient. What people believe he was talking about is a country called Namibia, so with an I in between that M and B, Namibia. And the reason being is that during those Ebola outbreaks, Namibia actually was able to cut it down, shut it down, and prevent a huge amount of the outbreaks by being able to treat sudden infections after a full revamp of its healthcare system to be able to ward off and fight the Ebola outbreaks. Okay. So, like, he was making a good reference. He's just...
really bad at words.
I guess. And, like, I mean...
Can I stand next to... I want that job where I can stand next to him and I go, all right, Trump, speech, take 2, action.
The only thing here is that Trump recently, outside of a couple of occasions, has been doing better at reading speeches off of a teleprompter or off of paper. I will give him the smallest benefit of the doubt that it was misspelled on the prompter or the paper.
I will not give him that doubt. I think
at the same time, you should fucking know what Namibia is.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ. So yeah, that's a thing. Good job. That's our president, everybody.
I'm really happy the Americans are putting forth, a lot of effort to make us look amazing.
1.
Colorado's investment in IUDs and other fire and forget birth control produced a miracle.
This was submitted by Abbas3166 to our X chromosome. Or 2 X chromosomes.
And what that miracle is that teenager births, premature births dropped by about half. The birth rate among young people who were at that point moms fell by 58%, and there was a ridiculous decrease in high chance births. And because there was such a reduction in teen pregnancies and premature births because of IUDs, for every dollar that Colorado spent on this program, they spared themselves $5.85 in expenses throughout the following 3 years. So for each dollar they spent, they didn't spend almost 6.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They sextupled their amount.
They didn't gain any money, but it means they lost less.
Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of an idiot.
What's up?
Whenever I try to talk about IUDs, I oftentimes will accidentally say IEDs, so I apologize ahead of time.
Those are very different things.
Yeah, and then I get the funny picture of someone with an IUD in her arm just having her arm explode.
That sounds rather unfortunate, Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. By the way, birth control should be part of healthcare, and it's like this is just the Colorado way to keep moving forward. Like, seriously.
Yeah, no, birth control is used for other things besides actually just birth control. It's used for a lot of vaginal problems when it comes to scarring and whatnot. And I feel like this is one of those things that should definitely be funded.
I realize I don't actually have a little button for a listener submission. What should I use?
I don't know. Something.
This one.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Man gets life in prison for killing doctor over botched penis surgery.
Holy shit, this was submitted by Ross via private message.
So, this is the story of retired dentist Stanwood Elkis. He is 79 years old, and he was sentenced sentenced to life in prison Friday for fatally shooting a doctor who gave him a diagnosis that led to a botched penis surgery. Now, there's two things here. Is that, one, the doctor is not the one that did the surgery. Okay, the doctor is the one that gave him a diagnosis that said that he would need this surgery. Elkis approached the doctor after he experienced frequent urination, in which they said he was diagnosed with urethral stricture and advised him to get a urethral widening surgery. Now, after he got the surgery, he continued to experience incontinence, an extreme amount of erectile dysfunction, and a very, very reduced libido. And this resulted in him having large amounts of struggles through his life when it came to romance.
Well, okay, so I'd just like to point out, anytime a knife goes near or anytime something goes wrong with your penis, you tend to lose libido.
Now, 20 years later, he books an appointment with the doctor, walks into his office, and shoots the guy 10 times in the chest.
All right, so he's an individual, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has a limit. His limit tended to be 10 years, 20 years after the fact. That's when he finally couldn't take it anymore. I
guess. I don't know. Anyway, Elkis pled not guilty by reason of insanity, but jurors ruled that he was sane, and a judge handed him the maximum sentencing on Friday.
Maximum? Kind of fucked up. He's got a botched penis, guys.
I
know things about botched penises, and I can tell you it drives you crazy.
2 things on this. 1, get a second opinion on things if someone's telling you to go do surgery. 2, he's 80 years old and he killed a guy.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad that he's going to be in prison for the rest of his life.
Wow.
And 3, there's a third one on here, is that if you have the surgery and then after you're all healed up from the surgery, you're experiencing all of these issues, don't wait 20 years. Go to a doctor.
Maybe he did. Maybe he just waited 20 years to kill the other guy. Because now he has accrued a lot of medical costs in the form of more surgeries on his penis.
I don't know, man. I got nothing.
I don't have anything either. It's really fucked up as a man who also has a fucked up penis to another man. I'm sorry that it came to the point where you had to kill somebody for it.
Yeah.
I don't feel any anger. Well, okay. I feel resentment, but not anger about my penis.
Sure.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks! Look at me!
BoJack Horseman has been renewed for a 5th season by Netflix.
Yeah, and that was one of my things, and that was submitted by Joni Santuccio to Art Television.
I have not watched any of BoJack Horseman.
It's got a fucked up sense of humor, kind of like Rick and Morty, except without as much science fiction in it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot more just really depressing shit.
Noted. All right, what's your other thing of the day, sir?
The Hobbit was published 80 years ago today.
Dude,
and
really?
in his review, C.S. Lewis said prediction is dangerous, but The Hobbit may well prove a classic.
Well, it did.
There's another excerpt thing. My roommate sent me this bit of a book here, and it said, he also remembered that I, then between 4 and 5 years old, was greatly concerned with petty consistency as the story unfolded, and that on one occasion I interrupted. Last time you said Bilbo's front door was blue, and you said Thorin had a golden tassel on his hood, but you've just said that Bilbo's front door was green and the tassel on Thorin's hood was silver, at which point my father muttered, "Damn the boy," and then strode across the room to his desk to make a note. Christopher Tolkien explains why his father, J.R.R. Tolkien, wrote down The Hobbit in the first place, when it was originally intended to be an oral bedtime story for his children.
Fun. I will say that I enjoyed the original cartoon. I have read the book and enjoyed the book. The trilogy that did not need to be made as a trilogy was not great.
That's all right. Peter Jackson also agreed that it did not need to be made as a trilogy, but I feel like he did, what he could. He had been under a lot of pressure. I don't blame the director in this case.
No.
I also still haven't seen the Battle of Five Armies, so I should probably sit down and watch that.
Me neither, and I don't wanna.
I kind of do.
Well, get to it, bub. Anything else for you, sir?
No.
Thing I cared about in the last 24 hours, I actually already talked about. I was going to talk about Zach's birthday, but he showed up in the chat, so happy birthday, Zach. Also, happy birthday to our good friend Bobby Slater. You are a interesting individual who we love a lot.
I love Bobby.
Otherwise, I don't know. I'm so drained from work today.
Dude, I just want to go back to sleep. I feel like shit.
Well, shall we get out of here so you can? You should eat some food first, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna eat something first.
All right, everybody, we're going to get out of here. Everybody, if you would please consider supporting the show, patreon.com/dailyinternet. If you can spare $12 a year, $1 a month, please consider sending it our way, as if you already have. We appreciate the support immensely. Other ways you can support the show are by following and sharing us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All of those are at iReaditCast. Also liking and subscribing to us on YouTube. That helps us gain visibility, or leaving a 5-star review on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play, as again, that boosts visibility. Otherwise, everybody, if you want to follow me on social media, I am at Schwan Michael, and Nathan is at Bimmenstein. If you have a story that you'd like to submit to the show today, such as the botched penis surgery story today, submitted by Ross, you can do so by either sending us a message on any of those social medias, or you can leave us an email, or you can just tell us your thoughts via an email, which is feedback.ireadit@gmail.com, or call and leave us a voicemail at 508-738-2278. That is it, everybody. That is your 354th dose of the internet. We'll be back on Monday, live on Facebook at 6 o'clock Alaska time. I am Michael Schwan.
And I'm Nathan Wood.
And please remember, everybody,
Don't get eliminated!
have a good day, everyone.
Bye.